people or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kinda patient, cause only time will tell. It's gonna go up, so you better stay calm. And grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. I'm the Crypto Crow, and it is 2:21 Eastern Standard Time. I've got some interesting stuff to cover today. For those of you that have been watching my channel for years, you guys know I used to be huge into bot trading, algorithmic bot trading. I found something that I'm going to start doing content on. I haven't had the opportunity to completely dive in yet, but it's going to be pretty amazing. And I think it's something that each and every one of you guys can do. And I'll tell you right now, I watched this video of a guy, brand new channel. He had like 200 or 2,000 subscribers, and I'm watching him. I'm like, this is going to be big. This is going to be a big deal. I'm going to do it too. And rather than just steal his idea and do it myself and use my bigger channel, as big as it is, it's not that big, but I'm going to have him on at some point. I'm going to reach out to him and I'm like, listen, because the whole idea is to turn $100 into $1 million. And I know that sounds insane, but his plan for doing it is something I have already been kind of playing with, but he found a software package that will really empower him to do it, and possibly me and possibly all of you. So I'm not one to just I'm going to take that guy's idea, screw him, and do it myself and get all the glory. He doesn't even know. I haven't reached out to him yet. I plan on reaching out to him. His name's Jason also. But I'm gonna reach out to him at the very least and be like, look, let's compare notes, man. Let's work on this together. I'm happy to promote him and his running again. Yeah, now I'm flipped and reversed and all kinds of stuff. I don't know what the hell happened. Well, anyway, all my stuff reset. This is the weirdest shit ever. All right. Well, anyway, I guess we'll get back to it. So anyway, I'm going to have him on at some point, but I want to dive into this software. But for those of you curious, it is called Quant IDE, Quant Grade Tools, Zero Quant Background. So I don't know, man. I'm going to experiment with it, and I'll let you guys know. Also, if you guys are interested in winning a free website, make sure you click the link in the description below. If you're a small business owner and you're in need of a new website, or you have a crappy website, or you're starting a new business and you need a really, really good website, you got 4 days and 8 hours. Fill out this SEO audit, and it'll tell you everything wrong with your current site in a full readout, and you can try to fix it all yourself, or maybe you'll win a free website up to $5,000 worth, a $5,000 value. This is just me, ultimately trying to kind of share what my capabilities are as somebody who's building websites. I've been doing it since I was a teenager, literally. And so yeah, that's basically what it's all about. And I think it'll help a lot of people, and me too, because it'll help me pay the bill. So anyway, click the link down below if you're in need of a website, and we'll get to you. Now let's get to the nitty gritty here. So the first thing I want to cover: the White House to hold second round of bank crypto talks as Clarity Act remains stalled. We all know what's happening here. It's super frustrating, but it is what it is, right? the second round of closed-door negotiations between banks and crypto firms is set to be held at the White House on Tuesday. So this will be tomorrow, as the Clarity Act remains gridlocked in the U.S. Senate. The main point of contention keeping the Clarity Act from progressing is over the issue of yield-bearing stablecoins, which traditional finance sees as an existential risk to the U.S. financial system. That's kind of the idea, isn't it? Like, it's to get rid of these old codgers that are ripping everyone off while they're just making millions and billions. And, the White House has put increasing pressure on both parties to reach an agreement before the end of the month to prevent the Clarity Act from losing traction in the Senate. So this is really important because basically the banks don't want us earning a yield on stable coins. They want us to stick with their 0.5% interest yield on savings accounts while they use the fractionalized banking system to loan our money out ad nauseum over and over and over again and create a house of cards and perpetuate this house of cards. And the whole idea is to replace this bonk system that is screwing everybody except the banks, and they're all too big to fail. So every time the system shows that it doesn't work, well, then the government has to bail them out for billions of dollars. So we're due for a transition, whether they want it or not. And unfortunately, they have so much power in Washington, and we'll see how this comes about. But I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow, because it's going to be a pretty big day. So I don't know. That's scary. I'm in a little bitty trade. I've watched this trade go up. I was up about $100, but I'm trading on, this is my BitUnix account, and just a little bit, $1,340 in margin, nothing crazy. I've just been making little trades here and there. But yeah, I've been doing that thing. Sets token is up a tiny bit. Lots of buys. I saw a sell earlier. This was 22 hours ago, $277 sale. But it's just slowly ticking up because of the big February event that's coming over Valentine's week. A lot of people are going to be getting a 20% discount on everything they do at the resort in Florida when they use their Sets token. So that's going to be a pretty cool deal. And people have been loading up. And they're going to be able to do this all through March. So this is going to be a pretty cool deal. And it's basically a way to onboard everybody. So that'll be interesting. Just in Cardano, Charles Hoskinson says Leos is a resolution of the hardest problem, the blockchain trilemma: decentralization, security, and scalability. We are told you can only pick two. You can't have all three. Well, this protocol is decentralized, secure, and fast. So, he's just educating people on what's coming on Cardano. And it's a big deal to me. I feel like so many of us in crypto have been we've had our teeth kicked in so many ways. Charles isn't void of that either. You know what I mean? I haven't watched it, but I heard how he had announced that he was down by like $3 billion. And we're all down. We're all down substantially, but it's kind of one of those decisions that, you can either make a decision to uphold your commitment and your stance for a decentralized world and a decentralized technology that has truly been designed from the ground up to benefit everyone on enterprise levels, retail levels, you name it. Or you can just say, you know what, I don't really care anymore. I'm down with centralized control. If you're new and you're just here for the money, then you might be more interested in some of the centralized blockchains that can just lock you down, take whatever you have, ultimately just control you the same way the financial system does today. Or, you can support an effort in decentralization and providing a technology for the decentralization of the future era of finance across the globe. And that's why all of us are in Cardano. It's a really big deal. And that's all I have to say about that. The time is going to tell the tale of what's coming. And I think that's I'm sticking with decentralization, man, because it doesn't matter. A centralized control is always going to be commonplace in just about anything, especially when the government's involved. But I do believe that the decentralized nature of Cardano is going to play a major role. And I think it's going to play a major role in enterprise global level solutions where a decentralized blockchain is necessary. And honestly, I'm holding for what is likely going to end up being a midnight play on Cardano for digital identification. I mean, you know, I just think that's a must, and it's definitely going to happen. So, you know, we'll see. MrBeast sets his sights on financial services with new acquisition. Ethereum's Bitmine DAT invested 200 million into the entertainment conglomerate last month. MrBeast is one of those dudes. Wouldn't it be funny if he came out with like a 666 bar or something? Like, you have to eat this candy bar once a day, or you can't buy or sell anything. I don't know, I'm being stupid. We've been watching his latest series, which is pretty damn entertaining, if I have to say so. Beast Industries, the media and consumer goods conglomerate, founded by YouTube creator Jimmy MrBeast Donaldson, just announced its acquisition of Step, a fintech company that wants to make financial literacy and money management accessible to everyone. A hot acquisition, financial foundation, all this stuff. So MrBeast is getting into finance. This is going to be real interesting. Before we get into the rest of the news and what's going on, I wanted to touch base on where we're at with Bitcoin. Just so you guys know, we are basically towards the end of what is considered a markdown phase. Okay. And so with this, and I was playing around with Wyckoff and everything. There are a lot of different Wyckoff structures within the structures. This is a daily candle. None of this really means anything necessarily right now, but the idea being that this could potentially be a spring. I'm not sure that that's the case just yet, because if we look at the overall price action on what's going on in terms of a line chart. Oh no, where did my... when my browsers reset, it reset all of my stuff that was on this chart. That sucks. All right. Well, I'll cover it manually here. Give me just a second. That really stinks. All my windows are dark. Where is my stuff? Is this it? Well, basically what this chart is going to boil down to, and I'm going to read it because I had it already and I had it on this chart so that I can read it more easily. Come on, where is it? I'm basically looking at the entire write-up on my website, which is where I published this. So I'll share that. Bitcoin, Ethereum, conclusion. No, this isn't even it. Everything got changed around. This is so insane. It's really frustrating. Was it this one? Yeah, I think this is it. Schematic 2. Yeah, accumulation or 55K from here. I touched on this briefly the other day, and I still think we're answering this question. We're currently in a markdown phase. And if you know Wyckoff, accumulation, distribution, markup, markdown, all of that, after a markdown comes accumulation. And I think I marked an accumulation phase. This was a distribution here, markdown, accumulation is next. So what is likely is something along these lines, and we'll slowly start making our way back up. Now, I don't know the time frames that this is all likely going to play out, but ultimately what we're looking at is a potential two different situations here. Either one, we can come down to, I think it was somewhere along the lines of 55,000 to 60,000. No, this is all confusing. No, that's not the case. Sorry. When my browsers all completely reset and just played a trick on me, it threw me off completely because I had everything ready to go and I'm super frustrated. All right. In the schematic one, if schematic 1 forms from where we're at, you'll see a trading range develop, then a spring. A sharp, brief break below support, maybe a wick to 55,000 or below on high volume that immediately reverses. So potentially we've seen this and it didn't go that low. It came down to 60,000. That spring is the high conviction long entry. Expect this to take 6 to 8 weeks to fully develop because the spring needs time to set up. So basically what this is trying to say is we could potentially see another drop down even lower than we were, which would be the actual spring. Some are calling this the spring, but we don't know 100% yet what is what. But if the schematic 2 forms, you'll see the range tighten within rising lows, but no spring below support. The breakout happens from within the range. This is harder to trade because there's no obvious gotcha moment. We've seen the gotcha moment. We've seen the gotcha moment right here and right here. This was a big gotcha moment. It caught everybody by surprise. Not only that, but this substantial drop from a local high of around 98,241 all the way down to a wick of 59,800. I'd say that's a pretty gotcha moment. I'm just going to hazard a guess. So this could be potentially a spring. And if it is a spring, I had something marked down. Literally, this just reset everything I had done over the last 2 days. I'm really pissed. So sorry for that. Maybe I'll show that in a separate video. This is probably why it's easier if I just record videos rather than go live all the time, because everything gets messed up. I'm not even sure if I'm still live right now, to be honest. I guess, okay, I see some of you guys still in chat. So anyway, I think it may be safe to say we're moving up from here. I'm not sure. I mean, if I'm looking just at Cardano alone, I'm looking at a W pattern that's painted and on a 15-minute candle. And, a lot of people are like, I'm going to trade on a 15-minute candle, whatever. Yeah, whatever. But this is a clear W right here. But also lately with the current market, these are constantly being invalidated, but this looks like a clear W if I've ever seen one. And, we got our first rise up, we go sideways for a little bit, and we should get at least one more, but potentially 3 more rises to the upside. And based on momentum here, we went from, let's see, this was 26. We peaked up at around 27. So, by the time all is said and done, I would like to see 28 cents maybe, you know what I mean? But that doesn't necessarily mean all that much right now because the price of Cardano and a lot of these other assets aren't moving that much. So, a 3-level rise on a 15-minute doesn't really mean very much. What really matters is like a 4-hour 3-level rise. That's where the money's at. So we have to figure out and we have to see whether or not this is going to play out as intended or, where do we go from here? But the next phase is accumulation. After accumulation, which at the same time, when we're looking at Bitcoin's price, a lot of this stuff is it's 149 days. I had a lot of, here's some of my other patterns. Okay, thank goodness. So this accumulation pattern, this was an accumulation schematic 2 that played out over 116 days. Then it went into a markup phase that entered into a reaccumulation that just continued going higher. And then we ended up into this markup phase. This markup phase ultimately played out to, let me break down the price range here. So it was at a low, came out to the high. That was a 63.66% rise in price action from the low to the peak starting in this new markup phase. And so, you get into an accumulation, a distribution, and then you start going into the markup. Actually, this was just a reaccumulation. Accumulate, reaccumulate. And these patterns are basically what the institutions play. This was the distribution and then the markdown. So everything has gone full circle. Now we enter the accumulation phase, which could bring us somewhere around 90,000, and then a markup phase that could potentially send us into new all-time highs. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'm going to hazard a guess that we could potentially get a new all-time high this year if this cycle really does play out. And I do believe that these Wyckoff patterns are going to start playing out more and more consistently as micro cycles within a larger cycle. So, and I'm going to start following this in more detail, and I'm probably going to make it a regular part of my series, and it's all going to be structured much better than this one. My browser's resetting the way they did. I was totally ill prepared. So I'm going to cover a lot of that, but yeah. This is one of my books. There's a link in the description below. Rise of the Hive Mind, the Journey of Artificial Intelligence. If you're interested in artificial intelligence, you're going to definitely be interested in this. It starts with the inception of AI all the way up to where we're at today. And there's kind of like fictional story woven into the technology. But the one that I just kicked off is a really big deal. And this is called The Resonance Protocol. And this is a book about a man who he meditates, and through his meditation, a lot of things start clicking, and how he can, and ultimately he ends up building a city that completely runs on the Cardano blockchain with elements of it using Midnight. And it's not a blockchain book. This is a fictional novel, but it's basically all about the troubles that because in the process of all of this, he kind of creates this new philosophy in life, and how everything is a vibration. Everything, all power comes from vibration, vibrational frequencies. We can adjust them, change them based on our current mental state and all of that. And basically, to do this in a real way, he starts building a community of other like-minded people called Vibranists. And these Vibranists all start to gather, and they want to live together in harmony, right? And one of the easiest ways to do this, so that he's not labeled a cult leader, basically to kind of a middle finger to the face of all of the politicians, the organized religions, everybody that's always trying to control everyone. He builds this city and everything he does with complete 100% transparency, using the Cardano blockchain to log and keep track of absolutely everything. And it's like all of the people that are trying to shut him down, everything that. So I'm going to send a copy of this to Charles Hoskinson, because I really do think he'll enjoy this. And I don't know, maybe he'll give it a shout out, maybe he won't, I don't know. But this is currently available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have a Kindle Unlimited, you can download it and read it for free. Or you can buy the print version. There's a paperback version, and there's even an Audible version. I think especially if you're in blockchain and you're into meditation at all, you're into any of this kind of stuff, this book is really going to grab your attention. And I really do think this is going to be something. I think it's going to be something. So I don't know. Check it out. There's a link in the description below. Now, this I find pretty interesting. OpenAI battles billions in losses while chasing record $100 billion funding. I mean, these AI companies, man, they're just gobbling up capital like crazy. And it never seems to be enough. OpenAI is racing to secure up to $100 billion in fresh capital as artificial intelligence company grapples with mounting expenses and growing threats from rivals. Yeah, there's rivals, because Opus, like Anthropic, even though their API is insanely expensive, I mean, insanely, which I've learned by experimenting with ClaudeBot. I've shut it down and re-wiped my computer. I've done this so many times now, I can almost do it in my sleep. Just because I've been playing with everything, and I like a clean slate. But yeah, man, I mean, OpenAI, Anthropic, a lot of these companies, and, quite frankly, man, there's a lot of open source models that continue dropping that are just, they're starting to get more and more competitive, whether they're generative AI models for voices or music or like imagery, videos. It's getting nuts, man. But people close to the matter say the money could push the firm's worth to roughly $830 billion, more than what Argentina produces in a year. Here's my question. If a company has to have $100 billion to remain competitive against its rivals, how could it justify a valuation of $830 billion? Because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me not being ignorant. Probably is. But I'm like, is it a real valuation if you're constantly struggling to keep up or compete with rival companies? I don't know. Those involved expect talks to gain traction over the next 2 weeks. The size of the round signals more than ambition. Leaked internal papers obtained by the information show OpenAI facing a $14 billion shortfall in 2026. With total red ink climbing to $115 billion by 2029. So they're losing money. The company does not expect to turn a profit until sometime in the 2030s. You know what's going to cause a lot of these companies to start turning profits, in my opinion? It's going to be Internet of Things monitoring. It's going to be everybody running agents like Claudebot, and over time, I think like Claudebot, now it's OpenClaw now. I think everybody's going to be running these agents for themselves at one point or another. And, they need to get more secure. They need to get a better overall. But when the layman's can start just whipping up AI bots that are going to do all of this random stuff for them, I think at that point, it's going to start monitoring everything that we do. And I think Internet of Things is going to become a real thing. We've toyed with this. We've played with it. And I think it's going to be, I think the same way all of us in AI or in crypto are like, well, what's the government going to pick? What are these big institutions? What blockchains are they going to pick for doing whatever it is they want to do? Whether it's real world assets or stable tokens or whatever the case is, right? I feel like the similar question is going to be what AI models is the government going to use for monitoring everybody, for keeping track of all of these different control mechanisms, right? And so I think some of these AI models are definitely going to be subsidized by the government, and that's when they're probably going to be insanely profitable. So, because I'd be very curious to find out how many government jobs could be very easily replaced with AI agents. I mean, let's be real about it. Problem is as I understand it, even the IRS is still using computers with the flashing green turtle. So I don't really know how long it's going to be, but it's definitely happening. And I just find that interesting. These models just keep getting better and better and better and better. And right now, I'm pretty sure Claude Opus 4.6 is the cream of the crop, even though I saw something recently where it basically it thinks it's a demon. I don't know, man. Let's see here. Yeah, that pretty much covers the majority of everything. I'll be very curious. I would watch Cardano's price right now because so far this W has not been invalidated, and we're doing this is playbook W with a first level rise on a 15-minute candle. So we'll see if we get like a second level rise, maybe into the Asian markets overnight. I would love to see that, but I don't know, man. We'll see. It could just drop and freak everybody out, because at one point I was just kind of trading this channel here that you can see I created the other day, and I've been just trading the ebbs and flows of that channel. And then we broke down below it, and I'm like, ooh, is this a fake out? And I didn't enter down here. I just kind of kept my eye on it. And then when we corrected, we started pulling up. We touched on this and then came back down. And as soon as we started going back up, I'm like, all right, this is going to be a W. And then you can see my entries, and I've been just kind of playing around with it. So I'm still in it. And yeah, I set a stop loss down here, and I'm hoping to move that up in the second level rise. So I'm going to keep tabs on that. Again, if you haven't yet, make sure you go click the link in the description below and fill out the form. It's not really a form. It's basically going to give you a free SEO audit on your website, and then it's going to show up on my end as a lead. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to keep this video under 30 minutes. I wouldn't mind more people checking it out, especially given that we kind of broke down but yeah. All right, folks, that's it for the day. I'm going to get back to work and grow your coins, and I'll see you soon. Hopefully next time without technical difficulties. See ya.
If it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kind of patient, 'cause only time will tell. It's gonna go up, so you better stay calm.